Hi everybody, welcome to this week's edition of The Betting Oracle with me, Jim Delahunt, and Harry Findlay, of course. We were talking plenty last week on the programme, looking ahead to the World Cup in America. Well, it's well and truly underway. We've had plenty of action so far. All the top teams, in fact, all the teams have now played one round of matches. And Harry, has it caught fire for you yet?
No, it's caught fire to me. It's caught fire to my Reddies. Now I'm behind already. Qatar equaliser, late equaliser was the worst of the worst result, but no, not in front. I don't think many people are on the punt, to be honest, so far, and a few interesting stats to come out, and a couple of small fancies in the next load of matches, but a bit underwhelming for me so far.
What do we think of all the razzmatazz beforehand, getting all the players to line up round the centre circle and all the rest of it? Is it overkill for you?
No, I thought before. I think there's too many matches, and
yeah,
I still do think that. I said to, I'll be looking forward to getting it down to the 32 and a straight knockout. I do. I thought in advance I'd prefer the shorter number of games, which I thought was enough, and it's paid out a bit. The timing's all good for us, and it's hard to do watch every game, and once you miss one game. I know you can watch the highlights and that, or even the whole match afterwards, but it's not the same as watching the games live. So I haven't got opinions on as many matches as I thought I would, but not surprised about that, really.
You'd never go to bed if you watched all the games, because there's a game at 6, there's a game at 9, there's a game at 11, there's a game at 2, there's a game at 3, there's a game at 5. But we do try and watch as many as we can, Harry. And as you say, the best policy is have a bit of a kip, get up in the morning, either watch the highlights or watch back a particular game you wanted to see.
Yeah, no, we all know from the NFL, the Sunday nights with the American football. That causes, especially when you get a bit older, but it causes carnage when you stay up when you have an all-nighter watching the sport. So I won't be watching all those 5 o'clock in the morning games, but Scotland have got a good kick-off time tomorrow night.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah, Scotland are playing Friday night. We'll talk about them in a minute. Just to say, first of all, though, the following teams have failed to win their opening games: Spain, Uruguay, Belgium, Switzerland, Turkey, Portugal, all very, very strongly fancied. And I suppose, Harry, the big shock of all was Spain 0-0 with the mighty Cape Verde.
Yeah, to be honest, it wasn't like a rampant. There wasn't that many clear-cut chances. I was astonished with your stat that you mentioned about the goalkeeper, how many times he touched the ball, and it didn't look. I might have scored the game 1.5, 1.25 to Spain, but not anymore. But according to the stats, as you say, the goalkeeper touched the ball more than anyone else in history or something.
Yeah, apparently he had more touches in that game than any player in World Cup history since they started doing this data. So it's quite astonishing. Vizinha was his name. He had 50,000 Instagram followers before the game, and I think he's got about 100 million now. He's now an absolute legend, and rightly so. But you wouldn't expect Spain to slip up again, would you?
No, I wouldn't. But they got a lot of stick. They got a lot of stick for that performance. But there's a little bit like the way they play, and like I say, these group matches that for me, they were entitled to go out and try and get the group sewn up with a big or qualification sewn up with an easy win, but it didn't turn out that way. But it was very tick-a-tack football, and look at France.
The first half.
Tony Bloom always says don't get carried away with the first half, but that was a nightmare game for me again. Once, I'm not. I play a lot in running, so when they game of 2 halves, I rarely come out on top, and I can't. But that France game, if you'd have said to me at half time, France to win the World Cup, I'd have been 13-2. Solid. What do you think of Mbappe? How does he look? I couldn't have had him on my mind. A couple of shocking touches, and then all of a sudden, 45 minutes later, and they're 4-1 favourites. Mbappe was down to 2-1 to be top scorer, and look, totally a game of 2 halves. To be fair, I was a bit slow. I was just trying to get out a bit when the first goal went in, but that's my own fault because you could see the tide had turned a good couple of minutes before that goal, and I was a bit greedy there and got my arse bit.
What did we make of England then? We finally saw England, 6 days into the tournament, against, they were playing last night against Croatia. And they won 4-2 in the end. Not an impressive first half though, Harry.
No, not really. I mean, they led twice, but to be fair, they come out well after getting that goal in the bang on the 50th minute, wasn't it? The 5 minutes extra in the first half, they conceded to 2-2. Great response for the early goal, but goals change everything, I suppose. And no, to be fair, I do think that if you are going to win it, if you're going to avoid penalties, if you are going to progress, I think football's changed, and I think goals count. And goals, everyone goes to win. And the way they played yesterday tactically, they certainly look like they're going to go out and go for it, which is a feather in their cap. I see they're 13-2 now from 8.5, about right. They did look a bit vulnerable at the back, but when you win 4-2, that's what you're going to expect.
What did you think of the price before the match last night? 8-11, 4-6. I thought was not bad. I backed it. You think that was a bit short?
No, I didn't back him. I bet him tiny because Warrior Bet went a bonus price, and I had my max little bonus bet on him. No, I thought 4-5 was about the right price, but I wouldn't have been against him. But I would have preferred him in the market, but I didn't back him.
And as you say, they've been cut slightly into 13-2 alongside Spain. France now the 4-1 favourites, 4-1 tops. And despite Argentina having a really good start to the tournament, they're still 9-1. I think they were just 10-1 at the start of the tournament. And Brazil, they were not impressive at all in their first game, Harry. Brazil against Morocco ended up a draw. And if Scotland were to be worried about Brazil, they're probably a little bit less worried having watched that game, although we'll talk about the Morocco match in a few minutes.
Oh, absolutely, Jim. If someone said to me, I thought beforehand I just can't have Brazil at any price, but I'd go at the nick to lay them now. They're a bit bigger than 12. They're at the 13 and a half, but I couldn't have Brazil on my mind.
There was just no flair about them, was there? Not what you would expect from a Brazil team, especially they've got Ancelotti in charge. You were expecting a lot more.
No, I actually fancy Morocco at the price to beat Scotland. 4-5. It held up after Scotland's, we'll talk about Scotland in a minute, but I thought 4-5 Morocco was fair. 1-7-7, 1-7-8 now, still pretty fair, I think. But I think Scotland will perform better. I think that game will suit them better, as outsiders do. And in the last game, I'd definitely be looking to be with Scotland. I was hoping for 4-5 plus 1.5. I don't think I'll get that. It'd be just under at the moment. Maybe 3-4, but I can only be with Scotland. I can't be with Brazil in any way, shape or form. It seems for me, for all time, they're always unders in the World Cup. It's like, I used to say in decades past that people would literally come out of the ground to back Brazil in the World Cup. And I can't remember one single time when I've ever been with them in a World Cup. And it certainly won't be this year.
Spain have obviously drifted a little bit, obviously on the back of that opening match performance, but France now favourites. And you can understand why. You've alluded to that about the second half performance. Yeah,
it was astonishing, really. And I was on Senegal +1, odds against pre-match small, and couldn't have been happier with it.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been pressed up in running. I even laid France at half time at 2:05, but I am gradually after 60 odd years starting to realise that games can change in the second half. But I don't think you'll find a bigger turnaround in how a team played probably for the rest of the World Cup than that game. It was remarkable. In it, they talk about Deschamps made a couple of changes and got stuck into the team at half time. But boy, what a turnaround!
And Germany got off to a flyer, scored plenty of goals, and yet they play Ivory Coast. And Ivory Coast, a few people think they might do something in this tournament, especially against Germany on Saturday night.
Well, a couple of people I watched a bit of it, but the people were impressed with Ivory Coast and per se most of the African teams so far. So certainly those guys have took the +1 against Germany. So that's I could definitely be with the Ivory Coast. I think Ghana last night were they won 1-0.
Yep.
And funny enough, after 20 minutes, the favourites had flip-flopped in that game. So they must have started really well. But another late goal, another 95th minute, stopped to 0-0. It's only been 1-0 so far, and it's bloody Spain. So been a lot of late goals again. 2 last night. very late. But no, I can see where they're coming from against Germany. Germany they played Morocco, who I thought were playing Spain, got that mixed up last week.
Yeah.
And so they won very easily. But no, I thought Switzerland, one of my most expensive loss was the Swiss. I bet them on the handicap, and I pressed up when they scored early. And that Qatar equaliser was very expensive. And I bet Canada, the whole world bet Canada, all the faces bet Canada, all the big syndicates were on Canada. And they got beat. They went 1-0 down and drew 1-1. But they look the better team, Canada, and I definitely prefer. I will have a small bet on them tonight on the handicap, -1.5, just under evens. Hate doing it, but with all these goals, I think there's a bit less trepidation in betting the big handicap. So I'm have a bit on Canada, and Bosnia seem to be brilliant at getting draws and carving out draws, but I think Switzerland, especially having only drawn that first game, 8-13 Switzerland tonight match odds. I'll have two small bets there. Small bet Switzerland match odds and a small bet Canada -1.5. But I'm not having that many bets. Morocco 1-7-8. I'll have a bit on that. I've had a bit on that. And but hoping for Scotland as usual. But I think with my opinions on Brazil, I think Scotland might edge through that group anyway, even if they get beat tomorrow. It's 3 hours earlier with the open stadium that suit that a bit.
Yeah, same stadium as last week, but as you say, 3 hours earlier in the day, so it's going to be warmer, there's no doubt about that. Interesting fact though, and we've double checked this, 15 European sides have played their opening matches so far. 7 have managed to win. Only one of those teams has won with a clean sheet. Scotland.
Scotland, yeah.
And they're top of the group. I mean, it's going far too well.
No, fair play. It's great. Listen, you're telling me they're running out of beer in Boston. How can anyone?
Apparently, yeah.
How can anyone be short of beer knowing what the Tartan Army after 28 years were going to do? And the pictures are just fantastic. You got to give it to them. They're another level to all other fans. Not even for contest.
Talking about another level, Morocco are another level on Friday night against Scotland compared to Haiti. So Morocco, 8-11 favourites. Scotland, 4-1 outsiders with a draw at 13-5. Now, I think that draw is going to be very, very popular with Scotland punters. But Harry, you know better than me. What about the pros? What are the pros thinking?
Well, I know the market just a little bit better. Morocco, as I said, one just over 3-4. I think most of the pros are on Morocco, but we know what Scotland are like. And the other thing is, I'm so anti-Brazil that how good were Morocco? Because they look good, and they were different gravy first half hour to Brazil. But the negative for the Morocco punters are just, I think Brazil are totally out. If they weren't called Brazil, you couldn't have them on your mind. So that's the negative for Morocco. And Scotland, a lot of people straight after Scotland Haiti game were saying, how can Morocco be 4-5 at half time when they sort of were all over Brazil?
Yeah.
But we all know it's never easy. Scotland are a tough team to beat when they're second favs. So I think most of the money is on Morocco, but I wouldn't be surprised, and a bit of mine, but I wouldn't be surprised if it gets, Scotland do a better, probably play better than they did against Haiti, but they won, and that's all that matters. And,
top of the group at the moment. I'd love to think they could get a draw, Harry, but you just
I can tell that.
But I'm not betting it. I'm not betting it. I am not betting it. What I was going to say was Morocco, I thought, should have beaten Brazil.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And Haiti looked as good as Scotland, but when they're 1-0 down, they're going to come out a bit more and do a job. I think as we know, Scotland will have a different lineup now. There won't be the 2 men up front.
Yeah.
And they'll be playing for the 13-5 poke because the draw will be absolutely invaluable for them. So now I can see plenty of reasons for being with Morocco. But like I say, that how good is being better than Brazil? Hopefully, we'll find out not much when it comes to the last game.
And again, we're thinking, okay, the odds are that Morocco will win this game on Friday night, although Scotland fans will be hoping to get something from it. You've then got Brazil playing Haiti. You would expect them to take a few goals. So you're then going into Scotland might be going into the last match, Harry, with Brazil. Brazil safely qualified with 4, and Scotland just hoping that they're quite happy to play for a draw. So, I mean, anything could still happen in that group. The good thing for Scotland is they've got 3 points in the bag, no matter how ordinary the performance was against Haiti.
No, absolutely. And I'm sure Scotland fans will be cheering on Brazil against Haiti, and get safely through. And I could only be, as I say, I'll be very surprised if I'm not on Scotland on the handicap in that third game anyway, whatever happens.
And just going back to the top scorer market, which we've briefly touched on, I mean, I flagged up Harry Kane last week when Greg Browning was in the studio. Thought he was a great price at 7-8 to 1. He's now 7-2 joint second favourite for the Golden Boot. That is alongside Messi, who I think, Harry, you could have backed 20 to 1, 22 to 1 for the Golden Boot. He's now 7-2 joint second favourite after that hat trick. He'll be 39 next Wednesday, which to you and me is a whippersnapper, but to a footballer, that's getting on a bit.
Yeah, no, I couldn't have had the 20 to 1. He's never scored a hat trick before in the World Cup, and obviously not sure to play as many minutes as the others, but what an incredible market. And Mbappe looked at 6 to 1 favourite down to 2 to 1 with his 2 goals in the second half. So that just in himself at half time there, and then he scores 2 goals, as I say, 2 to 1 jolly, and then Kane 2 goals, Haaland 2 goals, Messi 3 goals, 9 goals between them. The first 4 in the market in the first round of games. You'd have got a very big price, over 8.5 goals on them on that, and it's I'm sure it's never happened before.
And those better prices have gone, obviously, but Mbappe and Kane, if they were to stay fit, keep banging in the goals, it's going to be some race for that Golden Boot. Yeah,
it is. Of course, the number one rule of the Golden Boot is make sure you're on the penalty taker.
Exactly. Well, Harry takes them, doesn't he? So does Mbappe.
And with VAR as well, that's even more important.
What did you think of Kane the other night? Because he had to take that penalty again. Yeah. Anything could have gone wrong there, but he kept his head and slotted it, didn't he?
Yeah, I like the second goal, the header. He's a bit of an old. I've always just felt I haven't appreciated just how good he is throughout his career. You know, I don't know, you have certain players.
Would agree with that.
And you know, I'm a centre forward man, an old fashioned centre forward man in particular. Christian Vieri, or even love Mark Viduka, and I do like a centre forward right from a very early stage, and I just. You have a look at end people's careers, you judge what you think of them, and I think Harry Kane overall is a better all-round player than I ever give him credit for.
We've touched around the margins on the betting so far in this World Cup, but from your experience, Harry, are the big hitters still keeping their powder dry?
You know, I really go back to the fact there's so many more games.
Yeah.
And I just feel that's killed the interest a bit, you know, and we talked about it pre-World Cup. I think the Gambling Commission has stopped. A lot of people are playing less. Never heard so many people premium charges on exchanges and firms. People not being able to deposit money. I think that's played a part in it. But like I say, I think when we get through the last 32 and the tournament takes a bit of shape, I think that there'll be higher turnover.
And they seem to be certainly betting on the football in America. This poly market, which loosely you could term as their equivalent of Betfair, very loosely, I hasten to add. But some of the bets they were taking on the Portugal game, this is on poly market, $121,000 traded Portugal at 1.09, 803,000 at 1.1, 467,000 at 1.11, 420 at 1.12, 9.8 million lost on Portugal to win that match. And they also had somebody who had a bet on Portugal not to win. They had $300,000 on Portugal not to win and won the tidy sum of $1.249 million. So it's an interesting market, Harry. It's a bit alien to us. Have you spoken to anybody who's been involved in it at all, this poly market?
No, I haven't, to be fair. It's a predictions market, I think, or something.
Yeah.
But it sounds like an American version of Betfair. But looking at the turnover figures, they're doing a lot bigger than Betfair.
Yeah, very much so. It's sort of 3 times the size of it. But good luck if you're having more bets on the World Cup. That continues for quite a few weeks now, so I think we'll have plenty more to say on it. But of course, it has been Royal Ascot this week. If you're into the horse racing, as we speak here in studio, we've had 2 days already. By the time this programme goes out, we'll have had a 3rd day. So interestingly, we were very big last week on Notable Speech for the Queen Anne. And Harry, we have to say, disappointing performance, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely killed me. I was devastated. And he was on his own, isolated, didn't get much cover, but I was happy. I thought I thought the Opera Bello, the stablemate and joint second favourite, I thought, it was perfect. I think
Opera Ballo was the stablemate. Yeah,
and I thought effectively he sacrificed himself a bit for Noble Speech, and how he's working and what he'd done. I was absolutely, well, like I say, happy at halfway, and 2 seconds later when he looked, I've still not got over it, because I had a proper bet when the price was good as well, 5-2 all day, and when the price is good and there's no negatives, really confident, working brilliant. So was Ombudsman, who actually did run well, but no, it was a brutal blow. It was. There's no chance I'll be having a bigger bet this year on a horse than I had a Noble Speech, and still really. I said in advance that it'd kill me if it got beat, and when it went 5-2, it killed me even more. So really, to say I was disappointed is an understatement, but that happens with horses.
Yeah, exactly.
And move on, but I'll be moving on slowly.
Very slowly. The other big Godolphin runner this week was not in Charlie Appleby's care, it was in John Gosden's care, and that of course was Ombudsman in the Prince of Wales Stakes on Wednesday. And if we see a more impressive performance on Friday or Saturday than that horse put up on Wednesday, Harry, we will be astonished. Ombudsman just was different class, wasn't he?
Yeah. As I said, we was on Ombudsman, but we had half a saver on Darius, and we're on him for the Arc. And so impressive was Ombudsman that Glenn was more than happy with Darius as an Arc. And I was a bit surprised how well Minnie Hawk run. There was a lot of negativity behind her in the market, and
reversed the Arc form with Darius.
Yes,
on fast ground, it has to be said.
Yes,
yeah,
and that was a shock for me. There was a bit of negativity with her before the race, and but that was I think that was a good Arc prep for both of them. To be fair, and the winner looked special.
Yeah, I'll be going to the Arc in October, and I would be expecting much softer ground than we saw than that fast terrain at Ascot. So I think Darius will be much better suited by the soft turf at Longchamp.
I'll tell you, the jockeys get some stick when it goes wrong badly.
They do, don't they? Yeah,
when it goes wrong. But you look at that race again yesterday. Well, they ring that bell at Ascot on that bend, and you got them two horses they were proper 10 in front. After they're going to get caught, the jockeys. But really, it takes some balls, wouldn't it? They were going so fast. To be fair, they had to be. But it was a close call. The commentator nearly had a bit, there was once earlier this year with the Gosden horse. They really rode it out. It was ground at York.
At York, that's right. Rab Havlin was riding it.
Yeah. And. It's I thought that again last night, because they tend always to get beat, but boy, it takes some balls.
You're right, Harry, because when they hit that bell coming round the bend, you're thinking, maybe these pacemakers are away.
Yeah, they were. They come around the bend, the bell's gone, and there's, where are you? And suddenly,
But then they were breathing out their backsides, and the rest caught them.
It's a tough man's game, because you go too early. Say one of them had gone too, he knows that the real dangers are alongside him or behind him, and no, it was a good watch.
I mean, we talk about jockeys. I was a hopeless amateur, just had half a dozen rides, and I rode one at Hamilton Park one day, finished third, 33-1. 33-1, finished third, came in, and the ex-football manager, Alan Stubbs, was hanging over the fence at the winner's enclosure, and he went, Jim, you would have won that if you'd hit it. And I went, Alan, I hit it 8 times. 8 times I hit it, and we still only finished third. Oh, you cannot buy a break. You really can't buy a break. A couple of horses I fancy this weekend. Friday at Royal Ascot. I'm going to come back to one of Harry's in a moment, but there's a horse called Gold Digger. Very apt, running in the 6:10 at Ascot on Friday. Trained by a guy called Richard Spencer, owned by the music impresario Phil Cunningham. And the trainer won the Ayr Gold and Silver Cups on the same day last year. He also won the Stewards Cup last year as well. He's becoming a bit of a wizard with these handicappers, and he's got this filly Gold Digger running off an opening mark of 94 on Friday, and the word is that they expect that to go very, very well indeed. So that's Gold Digger in the Lucky Last on Friday. And I just wanted to mention one on Saturday as well in the Wokingham at 5 o'clock. That's a horse called Sondad, which has been to Ascot 3 times, finished 1, 2, 3, goes on any ground. So one on soft ground at Epsom 2 weeks ago, has got a £5 penalty for that. Joe Mason is going to be in the saddle, Joanna Mason. And of course, in the past, we've had Gay Kellaway was the first lady jockey to ride a winner at Royal Ascot, and followed many, many years later by Holly Doyle and Hayley Turner. Let's hope that Joanna Mason can get a Royal Ascot winner. She's ridden Shergar Cup winners at Ascot, so good luck to Jo on Sondad, which I think's got a real each-way chance in the Wokingham on Saturday. But I tipped up a horse last week, Harry, in the Commonwealth Cup called Venetian Sun. That's on Friday as well. Still 2-1 favourite for that race, but I know that you and your lads have another horse in that race. Wise Approach that you fancy?
Well, we bet Venetian Sun as well at 2s.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's 2s now. I think it's 13-8.
Yeah, it could be 6-4.
Yeah, I won't press on Venetia with that. If Venetian Sun goes back out to sort of 15-8, I'll have a bit more on.
Yeah.
Have a bit more on Venetian Sun, but still, we tipped Wise Approach at 8-1 for this race, and it's 14s now.
Yeah, it's
but still confident.
Yeah,
and
it's an each way price, or is that not what you're interested in?
No, definitely with this horse.
Yeah,
I think there's a bit of each way the first 4. I'd take a lesser price each way the first 4, but I'll be surprised if Wise Approach isn't close enough to. I think he'll get in the first 3 the way they're talking, hopefully, but needs to progress on the 2 runs. But the way they ran, I think another shrewd guy in the press has said that he's going the right way and he likes him. So each way, especially if you can get the first 4, Wise Approach, and I'll top up on the favourite, like I say, if he goes 15-8 again, but highly unlikely, especially if the Lizard gets stuck into him.
Yeah, my only slight, of course, it's Tony Bloom owns Venetian Sun. My only slight worry would, of course, be the fact that she's probably better on softer ground, but Carol Butt, the trainer, seems to think that fast ground will be fine. So you pays your money and you takes the price and you see how it goes. But this week, Harry, the State of Origin Rugby, what's been happening there?
Oh, poor Laurie Daly.
Go on.
I'm watching the Tudors at the moment with the missus, and I think he'll be. they'll have poor Laurie on the thing, pulling his arms and legs out. It went badly wrong for New South Wales yesterday.
Yeah,
and second half was a bloodbath, and now they've got to go to Brisbane for the 3rd game. I mean, talk about momentum, but I think it went right. I think that Casey McLean of the Panthers. We'll talk about the Panthers in a minute. But I think that he's been the best player this year, and he was going to make his. He come on in the first game. Admittedly, there was a man sent off, and I thought he was brilliant, and he got injured. He was going to play in this game and start, and once he wasn't playing, I think that was a big blow for New South Wales, and on what you saw last night, Queensland at 4-7 for the 3rd game, up at Suncorp looks a mortgage job, and I'm sure I'll be backing him, but Casey McLean might well be playing in that game and nothing to lose, in everything to play for rather, because it's 1-1. It's the deciding game.
And when's that 3rd game, Harry?
July the 8th, Wednesday, right. July the 8th. So okay. They've been like each of 2 nearly every game the last 4 or 5 games, but now after that mauling yesterday, a lot of question marks over Laurie's selections. Funny enough, one of Liz's ex-men, he thought that the lineup would be all right for the Blues, but it didn't turn out that way. So they decided on the 8th of July. Queensland looked good things, but as I say, Casey McLean, who I think was going to be a big in for New South Wales, he might well be playing in that game. But if he doesn't, I shall definitely be on Queensland in the decider.
And staying down under, but changing codes, the NRL, what's happening there?
Well, same code, I suppose, but same. Yeah, I, to be honest, hardly any match bets and nothing this week. I'm going in again. I've gone in again on Penrith at 7-5. They've been the same price for 3 weeks now. They won 68-0. They've got, they've been, I think, fortunate with the injuries, touch wood so far. But Liam Martin's had his rest. He's back now, going to get stronger. He'll be spot on. They've got a big enough lead. You've got to finish in the first 2 to be guaranteed the home games in the finals. And I genuinely, with a gun to my head, if someone said to me now at evens, you've got to back or lay the Panthers.
Really?
Honestly, I'd take even. So you can get 7-5, 11-8 everywhere, or nearly everywhere. And without question, it'll be a massive thing for me now, because I just think they're already they're going to be at home for the fun. And I just think other teams, there was a clear second favourite in the Warriors, but of course I was a bit worried about them as soon as they lost Tanner Boyd. Now 2 of us, Jake's out for the season. And, when you've got a couple of players out and you get a couple more, I think Penrith have got a lot of advantages. And for some reason, the 7-5 hasn't shortened in the last 3 weeks. and I think it should have done. And this will be my big play and of the year probably.
Tour de France incoming, not too long at all. Good news for terrestrial TV viewers. Of course, the Tour de France on TNT these days. The old Channel 4 days have gone, but TNT have done a deal with Channel 5. So you will be able to watch highlights of the Tour de France on Channel 5. That's got to be good news, Harry.
Oh, it's great news, yeah, because a lot of people, you talk about the Tour de France and how great it is, and for the terrestrial TV to be able to watch it. And the highlights package, Channel 4 used to do it.
It was great. Used to love that.
Yeah, I watched the documentary when they'd done it for the last time and they were all in tears. It killed them. I suppose it's such a great lifestyle. You know more than me, Jim, being a TV presenter and going around the venues, but they were absolutely distraught when Channel 4 lost it, the team, and Channel 5 will pick that up. But we'll be watching it on TNT. My wife's not just a big fan of Pog and the cycling, but all of the presenter and the team they've got there. It's a great production they do. And Pog's out this week in the Tour. He came out yesterday and won in a canter. He looks like a conker that's just come out of a shell. This is what he just cannot get beat this year because his preparation is just so perfect. Last year, he wanted to win all the stage races and you pay a price for that and he's shitting. The year before that, he had the wrist and had the problems and went for the Giro the year before rather. And the year before that, he had the problems. Mm-hmm. So this is I think the management team have almost reined him in and said, Pog, Tour de France, this is the absolute priority. And I mean, he always looks fresh as hell, but yesterday was laughable. And Ving, the third favourite, as we know, last week, got another terrible result for me when Six As crashed. Yeah. He was 5-2 on to win the...
So what happened there with the Wonder Kid, Harry?
What happened there? I'm on the phone checking what price it is, and he was 4-9, and next thing I saw, he was 8-1. Hadn't even come on the telly or nothing.
He's lying in a bush.
It's amazing. We talk about the press and the stick, and I mean, everyone's spoken about him rightly as a superstar, and even Pog was worried about him in an uphill recently, and he's absolutely on fire. 9-4 on to win this, third 7-1 to win the Tour de France, and he has a crash downhill. He's a young lad, his first ever. Yeah. He's going down an early descent and he had a crash. Ever since then, all the experts are coming on saying he's too young for the Tour de France. Look at, and there's now videos of all the mistakes that Paul Six has made in the last. Do me a favour, but nonetheless, he pulled out the next day. I didn't think he should line up. I'd have pulled him out straight away. If I'd have been team manager, he wouldn't have finished that stage. No chance. But he finished the stage and started the next day. Madness for me, and I'm not being after Tom. My money was on him. And people actually, good, warm people, betting the next day to win the stage, but no, not for me. Not for me. And how bad the crash was, it's only 3 weeks till Jonas is losing teammates like all over the place. Visma don't even look like half a team at the moment. I think they should give it to Pog now.
What price can we get? That's the main thing. What price can we get?
4-11. It's not a great price. I don't like tipping up 3 on shots, but when they should be 10 on, I don't mind. 4-11 I got with AK Bets. He's better on the exchanges, but not a lot better. 4-9, maybe 2-5. But I think it's a mortgage job at the price. But I enjoy watching it. I enjoy watching him. And Noble Speech's defeat was bad, but Pog's defeat or Penrith's will be a catastrophe. Okay. That's the 2 prongs for this year. I always used to, when I was younger, always believe that to go in on the naps. Yeah. Well, there's 2 this year, Pog and Penrith, and the 2 Ps, and that's what I'll be concentrating on for the next few weeks. And
no doubt we'll hear a bit more about the Tour de France next couple of weeks on this programme, the Betting Oracle. By the time most of you watch this, the US Open Golf will be underway at Shinnecock Hills. It's all happening on that coast of America at the moment. Betting beforehand, Scheffler, you won't be surprised to know, 13-2 favourite. McIlroy 12-1, John Ram 14s, Schauffele, Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleet's all 18-1. The old favourites, Rose at 50s, Lowry at 75, the Scots lad McIntyre at 55. So it looks wide open betting, but in golf, when it's a 13-2 favourite, most of the pros are on Scheffler.
Yeah, I'll be waiting to the last round.
Not playing early.
No, for someone, if a jolly one of the hot big boys takes the lead, I might have a little bit of interest, but notoriously difficult, and no, I won't be doing nothing before it starts. Okay, well, there we are. A bit more
We'll look back on that Open, and of course we're building towards the Open Championship here in Britain this year as well. It's all coming up on this programme over the next few weeks. We'll have much more on the World Cup next week, of course, but for the moment, from Harry Findlay and from me, Jim Delahunt, thanks for watching The Betting Oracle. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.